All right, my people, this is another one, another update. Yeah, you are on the platform of Timo Starboy Reality Talk TV. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And for those people who have already sleeping, good night. Yeah, so at your location time, I greet you all. So this is another update. It's like APC, APC. After they stole somebody's mandate. Now they are begging. It's like they want to reconcile. They say they need a peace. It's just like when armed robber rob you at a gunpoint and they want to settle for a peace. Where does that happen? Where does it happen? So who is fooling who? So anyway, let me share some video for you. So as usual. So please don't forget to like and share, so that we can be giving you new updates. So thank you, my lover. Thank you. Let's go on.
Tinubu's rallying call for reconciliation. Mr. Shoaibu, thank you so much for joining us on Newsday. First of all, what do you make of the by Bola Tinubu for reconciliation and healing?
Well, it is the height of hypocrisy and deception and the manipulative tactics to hoodwink the people to maybe to buy into their stolen mandate. In the first place, there cannot be penance without contrition. They cannot talk of reconciliation without contrition. So you cannot say that you want reconciliation when there is no justice. Where was Bola Ahmed Tinubu when his team of aides, his team of jesters, including members of his campaign council, led by MC Oluomo, were profiling people like it was done by the Nazist Germany in Adolf Hitler's time in 1930? Where was he? When they were profiling young Igbo people, who if they tell them at polling units, if you are not voting for the APC, please go back to where you're coming from. People were being molested, people were being beaten. So he cannot wake up today to begin to talk about reconciliation without taking a look at those things, without saying, look, calling for even the arrest or surrendering some of his aides to the police and security agencies. To say, look, most of my aides, I am now president-elect or president-select or whichever name he wants to call himself or address himself. And to say, look, based on my position, I want to think like a nationalist. I want to talk like a nationalist as a former governor. And to say, look, some of my supporters, who profiled people in Lagos during the March 18 governorship election, I want to hand them over to the police for investigation and prosecution. Until he chooses to do that, he cannot talk about reconciliation. That is his marks of hypocrisy, his marks of deception, grand delusion, and it's tendenciously wicked for him to even contemplate reconciliation in terms of, when there is injury. It reminds me of the tactics that was adopted by Adolf Hitler in the 1930s. We call it Nazism. And in Nazism, the Germans used the Jews as punching bags, and they decided to use a form of profiling. And that was the same way Tinubu's gangsters, including Motor Park House, led by MC Oluomo, were profiling young Igbo voters in Lagos. This is not the same Lagos we used to know. I remember Martin Sumbono of Imo State. In the 1950s, he was a deputy mayor in Lagos. Can you do that now in the same Lagos? Since Tinubu became the leader of Lagos State 23 years ago and he has been ruling that state, a lot has changed. People now begin to talk about Lagos belonging to a set of people and all of that. Of course, we know that we should have native speakers and the owners of communities and all of that. But Nigeria belongs to all of us. So the rules are clear, our constitution is clear and unambiguous. So Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu cannot contemplate to even discuss the issue of reconciliation without calling out for the prosecution of some of his agents, aides, and associates who were involved not just in voter suppression, who were involved in profiling, who were involved in reckless abuse of voters, including causing bodily harms to most people in Lagos during the March 18 election. What they did was simple. They decided to introduce violence, including traditional rulers. They will kill goats, kill chickens, spill blood at various polling units just to scare people away. Scare voters away from coming to these places. Then one of them even introduced the Oro festival just to scare people away and all of that. Where women don't come out at night and all those kind of mundane, outdated tactics. These kind of things cannot work. What it signifies is that if he's coming out today or just yesterday, to few days after the March 18 senseless display, in the voting units in Lagos, to now talk about reconciliation, then you should know that reconciliation comes with contrition. You cannot say you want penance without remorse. To show remorse, the only way Tinubu can show remorse, the only way anybody can take him seriously, is to call for reconciliation, is to bring MC Olomo and his other gang of jesters and say, look, I hand them over to the police. Police, please prosecute them. These people made inflammatory remarks. These people called for deportation of even the Igbo people and other tribal groups from Lagos. You know, that is the only time people can take him seriously. But how do you take a man seriously when even his own spokesperson like Bayo Onanuga goes on his verified Twitter handle to say that look, Igbo should leave Lagos for them. They should leave Lagos for these are sets of people who claimed they worked against military dictatorship during the Bantustan imperialistic military era. To now wake up today to begin to talk in a modern democracy, to begin to talk about profiling like was done in Hitler's Germany in the 1930s, then it is shameful, it is ridiculous, it is preposterous, and it is tendenciously wicked. So if we don't want that kind of hypocrisy, Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, if he has nothing to say, he should keep quiet. He cannot talk about reconciliation without contrition. Reconciliation comes with remorse. So how do you want to reconcile people? After you have stolen their votes, after you have suppressed them, after you have beaten them, after you have scared them, after traditional rulers came, made videos, held meetings with non-natives, and in those meetings, they threatened the lives of people who do not vote for your preferred candidates. You said nothing. You kept quiet. Then after you have stolen their votes, you now come and say, oh, you want to reconcile? Come on, who does that? It's like a prostitute who will tell you that he's into prostitution simply because he wants to feed the poor. Who does that? Wow. Bola Ahmed Tinubu should stop kidding us. He should stop taking Nigerians for a fool.
Well, those are, it definitely is retrogressive, the kind of discussions that have been going back and forth within our polity over the last couple of weeks. But I know you said the only way to reconciliation is for accountability to be taken, for justice to take place. But in lieu of that, some individuals are calling for some steps that the president-elect could take in order to console some of the nation. And specifically, Anambra State Governor Chukwuma Soludo, you know, there's this discussion about the release of IPOB, head of IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, who's been in detention for a while. Do you see Bola Tinubu addressing any of these? And if he does address it, would you see this as a major, if he decides to take actions regarding Nnamdi Kanu, would you see this as a huge olive branch being extended to the people of Nigeria? Is this something you would even entertain?
No, funnily enough, I thought you were discussing reconciliation just at the level of the violence that was meted to the people and the profiling, reckless and shameless profiling of Igbo voters in Lagos. You cannot talk of reconciliation on the general election, considering, particularly as it relates to the presidential election. Whether you call him president-elect or president-select, that is an issue, is a conjecture and a matter of discussion for another day. That particular election is being contested in court, and we know through that we have grounds, very reasonable grounds, strong grounds, to set aside that particular election, particularly as it relates to non-compliance, the issue of the conduct of the election by the electoral umpire, the INEC. So it is not, when we're discussing reconciliation, please, I want you to streamline it and limit it completely to the senselessness that happened on March 18 in Lagos. Not to the Nigerian polity, as Bola Ahmed Tinubu speaking as president-elect. No, that's not what I'm here to discuss. Because as far as I'm concerned, I don't recognize so. I don't believe he is one, because he's a product of a failed process. He's a product of a pauperized process. He's a manipulated and skilled process. You understand? So he knows himself. That is an unpopular person. He knows that he couldn't have won popular votes in Nigeria. He knows that all the Bulabos, Malablu, and all of that couldn't have earned him election in Nigeria. So that issue it's not an issue for discussion. So he cannot even contemplate a negotiation or a reconciliation based on fraud. It can't work. So that is not. I was carried away because I've been pained. I've talked about it. We have spoken about it. We have spoken to it. That is the issue of profiling, which reminds some of us of the effect of Nazism in Adolf Hitler's Germany in the 1930s, and is that semblance that was brought to Lagos, where they cannot win. What they do is to whip up tribal sentiments, to spring up violence and all of that. But as it relates to the Nigerian polity, no, there cannot be reconciliation based on fraud. Even among robbers, there is honor. If you want to steal, hold on please. If you want to steal, you understand, you can even do so intelligently. In this circumstance, it was done in the most unintelligent manner. You cannot say you want to have a masquerade. When I was growing up, when you see masquerades in the village, the legs are covered. But this particular masquerade, which led to the emergence of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, both the hands, the legs, the mouth, the teeth, everything is outside. So even little children will play with this masquerade because they know that this masquerade is not a real masquerade that any child can fear. This masquerade does not have, and nobody will respect this kind of mandate. Nobody will obey this kind of. Nobody will enjoy this kind of leadership. Nobody will respect this kind of leadership, including the international community. So it is not a matter for discussion.
Yes, now you have said everything you have said. We have heard you, and I'm sure your supporters, they would understand everything you're saying. Victims of electoral violence, definitely they would agree with all what you're saying. But I would like to point out that the fact that he's calling for healing and reconciliation, he's not saying that the opposition parties or the aggrieved parties should not go to court. In fact, their rhetoric has been go to court if you are aggrieved. So, and I know that the PDP has already filed. I'm giving you your time to speak. Please allow me to also speak. Now, I know that the PDP has filed a legal challenge to the outcome of the presidential election, and even in some cases for the governorship election. We've heard Badibor Rodsviver saying that he's going to challenge the outcome of the election. Now, what I want to ask is that in the meantime, don't you agree that we should actually douse the tension? We should douse all the inflammatory rhetoric while the matter is in court, because Nigeria cannot stand still. There's still the task of nation building ahead. I'm not making a case for any party, but I'm just saying that can we at least douse the tension while we fight for justice?
Can I? Yes, beautiful question, and I will respond to you by asking you a rhetorical question. You cannot say you want peace. You cannot say you want healing and reconciliation when you deliberately provoke crisis just to take advantage of the system because you have power at the center, and now turn around to say you want reconciliation and healing. How do you want to heal? Who do you want to heal in the circumstance? The people you sat down, ask your foot soldiers to go and beat up, harass, intimidate, disenfranchise. After doing that, you don't want them, you not turn around to say, oh, I'm sorry, this is a time for reconciliation. Nobody does that. Our children are watching us. Nigeria's international community is watching. The world is watching us. Bola Ahmed Tinubu does not have the moral rectitude to discuss reconciliation. Because a majority of those who perpetrated this violence, who perpetrated these acts of voter suppression, and not just his associates, they are his friends, they are his boys. He knows them. And he has never denied knowing them. They are members of his presidential campaign council. If he wanted to even show little remorse, all we requested is little remorse. At the time the acts were going on, he kept quiet. At the time the traditional rulers in Lagos, his Lagos, which he has been superintending over for 23 years. At the traditional rulers, traditional institutions that are supposed to be revered institutions, by the time they were issuing threats to non-indigenous, he kept mute. At the time his associates were threatening voters, he kept mute. Even in videos, recorded videos, he kept mute. He said nothing. Now that the acts have been done, people have been disenfranchised, the votes have been stolen, you turn around. He could have even made more sense of it by simply saying, look, the police, please go after XYZ. MC Olomo and his associates who perpetrated violence, those who even issued threats on, and we have records of them on national television. You have played that tape on this station. He never made any reference to them. We have the United States of American government asking for prosecution of those who participated in acts of voter suppression, intimidation, and attacks on defenseless citizens during the election. Your purported president-elect didn't say anything in that regard. All he's talking about is reconciliation. That's why we're saying it smacks of hypocrisy. Wretched hypocrisy. Lies and grand deception. Unacceptable. And in fact, it's an affront on our sensibilities as a people. He should keep quiet if he has nothing to say. What kind of reconciliation is he talking about? Without remorse. Without penance. You cannot talk of penance without contrition. You can't talk of reconciliation without remorse. It's simple. These are basic rules. Well, you understand? So it is not about, inflammatory remarks. That particular comment of calling for reconciliation on its own is inflammatory.
Frank Schreiber, very spirited contributions from you. Thank you so much for joining this conversation. And
so, my people, we cannot accept a criminal to be our leader because it will corrupt many people, especially young ones that they are upcoming youth. So we cannot accept it. It's unacceptable because this, the whole process is corrupt. It's entirely fraudulent. So we cannot support it. That is simple. That is simple. We are for justice. We are for the truth and nothing but the truth. You see, why we are showing you this video here, it's not about saying we are supporting them. I'm not supporting any politician. I'm not a politician. I never even in my life, I never once vote. To understand my level. I never once vote because I don't trust them. I don't believe in them. It is all about their pocket, their mouth and their pocket and their family. Ever since we have the independent, and there has never been any democracy. They never practice any democracy. It's only about who want to be dictatorship. Communist. That is what they are practicing. That is what I can see through all this. And in as much as we are still with them, we are saying that we are one Nigeria, it can never work. Because the ethnic bigotries, all this bigotry, ethnicity, the problem is there already. We don't love each other. We don't understand each other. So people that they don't understand each other, they don't love each other, they don't agree in any form that is shaped, any mutual respect, they don't have it. So it can never work. So why are we still going on that level? Why are we still going on the line, going down the line? We should cut it off. Because it can never work. At the end of it, we will fight. It will resort to fight the war again. Because everybody want to be on top. No one want to agree for each other. They don't want to agree the power. Say it should be rotate. They are just, they are tasty of power. So how can it be? Because they are not the same culture, not the same ethnic. You have a lot of ethnic groups and they don't agree in any mutual level. They never respect each other. They never understand each other. They never listen to each other. They cannot even hear each other out. So this problem will be arising all the time. That is what we are talking about. We should split. We should split. Just tear all this nonsensity, tear it apart, and let's start all over. Because the building, let me say the foundation you are building on top it doesn't stand well. It's shaking. It's shaking. The foundation is already shaking. And if you build anything on top of it, it will collapse. Eventually, it will collapse. So why are you wasting your time? Why are you wasting your energy? Why are you wasting your money? Why are you wasting your blood on it? So let's split. That is only solution. That's how we can make a peace in that area. Unless we split, we everybody go their way. Everybody go their own papa house and rest and have peace. If you are still conjunction, say you want to do patch, you want to do amendment or whatever, it will never work. So stop deceiving each other. Let's stop all this nonsense. It's nonsense. It's meaningless. It's meaningless. It's meaningless. Do you want to join? If you want to join, I will take you in. So we are having a serious conversation on Nigeria issue here. So that is what we are talking about. So as you can see, I will play you another video. This is what Dirty Baba, they interview him on what he's thinking about the outcome of the case in the tribunal and how he feel about the election. So
here we have the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party.
This Dirty Baba is a Labour Party second income. Is the second. Yeah, after Peter Obi, is the second. So he's a vice president to be. So anyhow, let's play his thought. Let's hear from him.
Mr. Dirty Baba Hammer. Stay with me, Mr. Daniel Bwala. Let's come
Dirty
to Abuja studio.
Hello guys.
The vice president.
Please share our program.
Thank you so much. And it's good to have you tonight on the program.
Thank you. God will bless you.
Well. Let me first and foremost, let's begin the conversation around your own view of the outcome of the presidential election.
Silent watcher.
Unfortunate.
Please
tragic.
Just put yourself out.
All promises that were made, dashed, failed.
Give us a thumb up.
Dashed.
On
a Wednesday before that
I greet you all.
Saturday, we attended the signing ceremony in which the INEC chairman so bravely spoke and in which Mr. President also spoke. We should have known better. We always know better. But when you are dealing with authority, you have, and you are a law-abiding citizen, your only option is to continue to have hope. Well, we've been having hopes for 8 years now. Promise after promise was failed. They promised beavers will work on Wednesday. They switched it off on Saturday. They promised electronic transmission on Wednesday. They failed it on Saturday. Mr. President said all he could, but all we have to do is to look at their antecedents and just come out and say the truth. These are people who just practically do not even know what they are promising. They promised better security for Nigeria. 8 years now have not been able to. Better economy, no. Fight corruption. Nigeria is the most corrupt era for Nigeria now. And therefore, if they failed to deliver the credible elections that they promised, it should come as little wonder to us. However, they're still calling it a credible election, which reinforces my belief that, clinically speaking, they don't even know what they're doing. They just say things and they air credibility, they have honor, they have zero honor, they say they have honor. They force people to say that they are leaving behind a legacy. What legacy?
Sorry. This is
What legacy are you leaving behind with all the poor state that Nigeria is in? That is my view.
But let's keep that aside and go to what is really facing Nigeria now, if you would. Can I go ahead?
Yeah. Just I'd like to just get one or two things off the table. You mentioned this. It looks to me that you generalize the issues, but Nigerians would like to know in what areas that you have your disappointment about the process. Is it with INEC? Is it with the beavers? Did the beavers work, or was it the IREB? Because a lot of people will say maybe the beavers worked, but the IREB, the transmission of result, was the problem. Where do you think that the promises did not match the performance?
The arrogant INEC chairman and the incompetent president of Nigeria, I'm very, very sorry to say. The chairman should not have engaged in what he did. At the height of administrative rascality and official arrogance, sneak in the hour of 4 a.m., arrogate himself the power to interpret a section of the Constitution that needs no interpretation. Section 134 comes already interpreted, and recklessly proceeds to declare and issue a certificate of return. And our dear Mr. President, who is probably paying back a promise that Tinubu extracted from him way back in 2014, when they added their money and their votes for him to become president of Nigeria.
Share.
Back then. And now they reminded him, you promised to give it back to us. And he has no choice than maybe, well, they promised, okay, give it to them. He could not stand for righteousness. And it is clear, with this president, anything can go, and you can give it a different name. These are the places I am disappointed in, but I really want us to come to what is facing Nigeria now, if you may.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and, but of course, your party had gone to court petitioning the outcome of that election. What are your expectations? And I'm asking this because your party came third. So in that sense, what are the hopes and aspirations of your party and your principal yourself? What do you think will come out of that election? What are your prayers?
It's good we always finish qualifying what we are saying. When we say we came third according to the results released by INEC. Yes. In reality, we came first. With the data, with the collated results on IREV and with our agents and everything that we have.
Have you committed that?
We have. Yes.
What are the figures telling you?
We won the election.
INEC declared 6 million plus for you.
Yes, but we got the highest number of votes.
By how many votes?
It's in the region of 8 million, but when the lawyers are handling that, I don't want to give a figure right now. We came first, so just to correct you, whatever we say is good, we fully cleared. Yes, we've gone to court, and the lawyers are handling it. What is facing Nigeria now? Nigeria is officially in a state of constitutional crisis. We are not realizing that yet.
What do you mean by that?
Thank you. A certificate of return has been issued to a so-called president-elect unconstitutionally. There are therefore two meanings, two interpretations, and two understandings of the declaration made. One is that one by INEC. One is that one of the people. When I said of the people is whoever can read section 134 of the Constitution and take a position, then we are entitled to our own view of what crisis is facing Nigeria now. The certificate of return issued to Alhaji Tinubu is a dead certificate. It is one certificate that breaches the provisions of section 134. Therefore, the requirements to be declared as president-elect have not been met by Tinubu Shetima ticket. The declaration, therefore, as it stands now, as far as the people of Nigeria who choose to adopt the literal, clear, interpreted meaning of Section 134 is concerned, there is really no president-elect.
All right. So let's clarify.
Yes.
So Section 134 suggests and puts to Nigeria.
Does not suggest, provides.
Yeah, provides what Nigerians should think about when they are electing a leader and the office of the president, and it talks about.
No, sure, you are wrong. You are wrong. It's not what they should say when they are electing a leader. Section 134 stipulates who to be declared and issued certificate of return. It is.
Sorry, yo. I have interruption.
Okay. And issued certificate of return. It is only that candidate that has scored the highest number of votes and at least 25% in each in at least two-thirds of the states of the federation and the federal capital territory.
Remember, I thought you were going to say something different from what I was going to.
No. Each. And now it is very clear. Tinubu does not have 25% in the FCT. We denied him. We got 61%. Atiku does not have 25% in the FCT. We denied both of them. By the clear, unambiguous provision of the Nigerian Constitution, which must not be breached, Tinubu has not satisfied the requirement to be declared president-elect. Accordingly, there is no president-elect for Nigeria now. I repeat, accordingly, there is no president-elect for Nigeria at the moment because the declared one violates the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I know what I'm saying. The Constitution is there in your presence, it's available, everybody is reading it as I speak. I'm not therefore behaving illegally or unconstitutionally. To the contrary, I am supporting constitutionality. It is in fact better for the powers that be to go and create additional 6% out of thin air and rig it back to Tinubu and therefore swear him in on 25% than to go ahead and take the risk of swearing in a so-called president-elect that has not met the constitutional requirements.
Interesting. This conversation, what you saying just a moment, was one conversation I had with Mr. Olisa Bakuba a few months ago when he was one of those who raised it and said, I might need to come out to explain to Nigerians this second part of the provision of the Section 134 of the Constitution about 25% in two-third of 36 states is 24. Good. Plus the FCT. Whether or not if you meet that of the 25% of two-third of the state, which is 24, but if you fail to meet the FCT, what happens? That it was one major issue, which is raised. Well, for the benefit of our viewers, let me just read quickly what Section 134 says. And it says, a candidate for an election to the office of the president shall be deemed to have been duly elected, where there being only two candidates for the election, he has a majority of votes cast at the election. That is the first provision. Then he has not less than 1/4 of the votes cast at the election in each of the least two-thirds of all the states in the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. That is the second provision.
Can I comment?
Go ahead, please.
This document you read is not a puzzle. It is in English. O levels that you wrote and I wrote and the justices and everybody that is a candidate wrote. It is not, the law is not a game for politicians to play. This document is not available for Yakubu to interpret that day. It is there for him to follow. The English is very clear. These are fundamental provisions of the Constitution. they come already interpreted. You cannot take a gun, shoot somebody, and then ask the family to go and get interpretation that you only fired your weapon and then it killed him. No. This constitution is more than abundantly clear. It says and. Sure, you know the meaning of and. We know the meaning of and. There is no justice beyond what is simplicity. Simplicity is justice, simplicity is wisdom, simplicity is knowledge.
Alright, so that is an interpretation which you are
Listen.
No, because there are other people who have
universal. There is a universal.
There are other people who have argued differently.
Go ahead.
And when Bola Tinubu was declared, he has a supporters. A lot of people were happy that he won the election. 38% of the votes guys were given to him. And those people are Nigerians.
By INEC, I told you to be qualifying what you say, please. By INEC,
Please
that
like
is
and
what
share.
is presented officially, except
Like and
otherwise,
share.
now you are taught. Now you are otherwise. Go ahead.
It is otherwise disputed. That is what is fact that we know now.
You have qualified it. Go
So
ahead.
that is your interpretation of this provision, because some other people argue differently.
Those who have argued differently ended up helping our case. Because they say that there's a certain ruling which says the FCT is a state. Good. FCT is a state. Where is the each of 25% for FCT? It is not there. That constitutional requirement has not been met. That certificate of return is null and void and cannot be sworn in as president. And let me tell you, the way they are going, disregarding the calls of the people, violating the constitution, let them even go ahead, even if they swear in Tinubu Shetima on 29th of May. They are swearing in an unconstitutional government. Nothing will change it. I am not a careless, reckless speaker. I am working with the constitution there, that document right you just read. I'm following it. And I dare to tell you that swearing in Tinubu and Shetima is as good as swearing in the Nigerian army on 29th of May. If you swear in people that have not satisfied the requirement, you have by so doing ended democracy. The crisis I'm telling you now is that this our democracy is going to end by the way we are going. This democracy is going to end on the 29th of May 2023. Please write it. Those are extreme thoughts. I am very, very happy to say it. I
will, because those are extreme thoughts. You know why? Because there are allowable language to be used on television, especially as it relates to our nation and the unity of this country.
Put your question and let me answer you. Put your question. I know what I'm saying.
If there is an official...
If you reach the constitution...
But is it not left to the court to decide otherwise?
This is already decided by the courts.
But the authority in charge of the election gave a declaration.
Sure, if you are afraid for some things, don't ask for them.
I am not afraid. I will as a citizen of the country, by the ethics and the guidelines of my profession, live by it. Yes. What is lawful? And
my viewer, you see, one thing is certain. Is they have gagged all this our media in Nigeria, both channel TV, Arise TV, wherever, you know, AIT. They have gagged them because they cannot speak freely. They are afraid, you know. They are afraid in them. They have put this thing threat on them. That is why they cannot talk straight. They only talk side by side. As you can see, they don't allow their co-hosts to talk freely. They don't allow their I think maybe inviters, you know, their visitors to talk freely. So what is in need of, you know, you are inviting people to come and talk, and you are still holding them back. You don't want them to talk the truth. To split the truth out, you know. So we need the truth. It is truth we need here. Let them split it out. Don't hold them back. Don't say that they gag you, they do, you know. If you don't want to talk straight in a straight point, don't invite them, because this is nonsense. It's wasting time. This man want to speak freely, but you are gagging. You are holding him back. You are saying you cannot talk like beyond this. You cannot talk that. So this is part of the parcel. It's part of their parcel in the judiciary, whether or not they are court or whether or not they are in their law or in their constitution, that no free speech, no free speech of a media. That is the problem we are having. How can you say the media cannot express their feeling, cannot talk freely? It's just like you are still holding people back. You are holding them back in the slave trade. You are gagging them. You don't want them to speak freely. What kind of a country is that? No free movement, no free speech, nothing. No free media. So what kind of constitution is that? That is mean they need to tear that constitution apart. We don't need it. It's our enemy. It's our enemy. We don't need it. Unless they tear it apart, that's how we can be free. We can have our freedom. Look at where the conversation is not smoothly. They say because this is the rules. The rules for what? Can't you express yourself freely as a human being? Can't you walk and talk? When you see things that is going badly, you need to address it. You need to address it, in a smooth manner, in a smooth flowing manner, in smoothly. Let the conversation go flowing, go smoothly. Not that you'll be cutting somebody off. This is what we are talking about. There's no free movement. We are just in a cage. You can't implement any leader for us. You cannot. This is not the chosen one. How can you implement somebody that is, has too much in his hand, too much of crime in his hand, too much of blood in his hand? His cup is full. It's full of crimes, full of dirty atrocity. Dirty. Everywhere is dirty. No clean hand, no clean face. How can you implement that one on us? It can never work. This is what we are talking about. Reality talks. Don't be behind the curtain, showing your face little by little. No, just come out. Come out clean. Come out flashly. Let everybody see you. Be transparent. That is what we are talking about.
Not that you're a lawful citizen of the country. And so whatever the stipulation of the law guides, if you agreed about something, you go to the court to seek redress, isn't it?
This document is a product of the legal system. It has been signed into law by the President, Commander-in-Chief Federal Republic of Nigeria. I believe in this document. That is why I'm so lawful. That is why I'm so confident. And that is why however extreme it is, Sean, I am saying it on national TV. I don't like to take risks. I'm not taking any risks. Swearing in a ticket that has not met the constitutional requirements of the Constitution, is ending democracy.
Yes.
Quote me on it.
That's your interpretation.
That is my interpretation. And that is indeed a correct interpretation. You cannot swear people who have not met the constitutional requirement. You can't do that. If you did it, you have done something unlawful, something unconstitutional. And I'm repeating it. Whoever does not meet the constitutional requirement must never be sworn in. You said my name. If you like, I can say it again. I'm Dr. Baba Ahmed. I'm not taking risks with my safety and with my life. But I'm repeating. Swear in anybody who does not meet the constitutional requirements of our country. You are engaging in an unconstitutional act. Mr. President, do not hold that inauguration. CJ and your lordship do not partake in unconstitutionality. I am taking these risks for the sake of my country. Yes, it is extreme and I'm saying it. It was more extreme for Yakubu to issue that certificate. It was reckless.
Yeah, it's a criminal.
He is putting all our lives in danger.
Criminal
all of
act.
us. We are already at risk. So what is there again in me taking risks again?
It should be jail for that.
Not done
It's
against
a criminal
Nigeria.
act. It should be jail for that. Yeah,
What have they not abused in Nigeria? Now they take the constitution where it is clear, it says and get 24. After that, and FCT. They fail to get it. They are going to swear this man in, and I should be afraid? I will not be. I am telling you that on the 29th of May 2023, swear in Tinubu as this result is, you have ended democracy, whoever you are.
You say you're a lawful citizen.
I am.
So the judiciary,
the law in me is why I'm saying this.
Yeah, so the judiciary is the hope of the masses, is the hope of the common man. And if you look at what decision your party, your principal and yourself are taking in going to the presidential election petition, it does look that you believe in one thing, that the judiciary will work. Do you?
I do. What you asked me is a different form of what others have asked me, as if I trust them. But listen, take these three things I'm going to tell you. The law is not a game for politicians to play. The Constitution is not a puzzle for candidates to toy around with. Justices, their lordships, are not in place for politicians to refer other politicians to. That is wrong. That is wrong. This is classically what is going on now.
But you have faith in the courts.
I do not.
Why so?
There is a sitting Senate president who contested presidency and lost, and today he is declared senator. And the laws of Nigeria does not allow you to contest two offices. I was contesting governorship in Kaduna, but I withdrew before the contest. And that is why I was nominated as vice presidential candidate on this ticket. Electoral Act violated. Every other act violated. Promises violated. Now they are itching to violate the Constitution to the extent that they will even swear in a president who has not met the constitutional requirement. We should sit down and be afraid and not talk about it. No way.
So if you say you do not believe in the courts, so why did you proceed to the courts then?
That is no reason for us not to go. Because I have said it many times, history is full of first times. There may be a first time that the court system will work. Remember, I have suffered from the legal system. My House of Reps, my Senate, everything I accepted. Nothing I can do. And that's to underscore the law in me. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I'm a law-promoting citizen. That is the more reason I keep telling you, I keep speaking in extreme ways. And I'm not violating your ethics. I'm more ethical than many people who have been here before to come and tell lies. Because I'm speaking the truth. The Constitution says each of, that is 21 and 24. After that, and you come and tell me that, go and get interpretation. This is an interpreted document. Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is an interpreted document. Let's get academic. If, for example, Section 134 had said that shall have scored 25% in two-thirds and the FCT, and then you get a very popular candidate who now scores 100% of the states, and then the opponent goes to say, the Constitution says two-thirds of the states, and this man went to score in all the states, declare him invalid. That is where the justices, their lordships, can say no. We hereby interpret it to mean this. But it has been so diligent, there is nothing left out there. 25% in each of at least 2/3 of the states of the Federation, which are 36, and the FCT. Who has time to waste? Nobody has time to waste. You come and rig elections, bastardize the system, then tell people to go for interpretation? No way. You think the election of 25th of February was rigged? It was rigged. What about some of your candidates in the National Assembly who won their seats? There are at least 6 of them or so. Any of them in the Senate should be taken to the court and have it taken away. I'm talking of presidential election.
Does he interpret? You think that the presidential election was rigged?
It was rigged.
Even the 6 million plus vote that you have, was it rigged also?
It was not rigged.
So that the lawful votes that you got.
It was not rigged. So remember, you're talking of electoral matters. I'm talking of constitutional matters.
So yeah, I'm asking a question because if you say that the election was rigged,
the election was rigged.
So
it should have been stopped. Remember, we called for the coalition to stop. Don't forget that, sure.
Absolutely. But the question I'm asking, the question I'm asking, if you say the election is rigged, you got 6 million votes.
Yes.
If you're going to court to challenge the vote, you'll be challenging based on the vote that you have.
We got more than 6 million votes. And in the process, we cried out, stop this coalition, stop, the election did not hold. Election is made of 4 things. It is made up of the voting of lawful citizens exercising their civic responsibilities. Collation according to the guidelines and the Electoral Act. Transmission of the results according to the guidelines and the Electoral Act. Then collation according to the Electoral Act itself, and then declaration according to the Constitution. But the Electoral Act borrowed that section from the Constitution and applied it in there. After voting, all hell was let loose. What they promised us 3 days earlier on Wednesday was that there would be electronic transmission immediately from the polling units. And it is there in INEC guidelines and the Electoral Act that no collation shall be made without reference to the IREV. They were collating without reference to IREV. So we cried out, stop this, stop this. The election is already going bad. Stop it. They didn't. 4 a.m. has never happened in the history of Nigeria. After adjourning, without specifying the time, 4 a.m., a so-called INEC chairman sneaked to the coalition center and
Snakes
announced the result
like
and
a rat.
declared a winner.
Yeah?
If you will now permit me, because I respect your rules so much, there's a word I wish to use.
Nigeria is so funny. It's a funny
I
land.
took your permission. No Nigerian is a fool. You cheat us this way and tell us go and get interpretation, go to court. Nigerians are law-abiding, self-respecting, peace-loving citizens. You have heard about organized
Nigeria will kill somebody. Just
I
a
have
fool.
heard about organized crime. And in our petition, there is something that has to do with organized crime. Drug peddling, drug everything is the epitome of organized crime. In America's 1930s, there was Ben Segal, a murderous individual who controlled the state. Only in the 1980s, I always his name, Pablo Escobar. He threw a justice from a helicopter down to earth. Pablo Escobar. Now, recently, you have the case of El Chapo in prison but correcting. We have it written in black and white from a U.S. courthouse that someone somewhere once forfeited $460,000 and is now a president-elect in Nigeria.
It's a joke.
The world's greatest black nation. In the United States, Nigerians have the highest educated expatriates. And this is the best we can do.
Let's bring on this conversation. I'd like to ask, it doesn't look from what your opponent is saying that you only believe in the courts if it's in your favor.
Not true.
Nigeria has become a laughing stock. We have become a joker, a clown. No more Nigeria. Nigeria is off. is off totally from this earth. You cannot go on like this. We cannot go on. We are just making a joke of ourselves. We have just been throwing anything dirty on ourselves. They are throwing garbage on us because we deserve it. Had it been that we are split Nigeria, everybody has gone. Yeah, take your own part. Everybody just go there, bear their papa name. None of this will happen because it's a shit. It's a shit that they are robbing us. Somebody he just snatch a ballot of paper, snatch the whole thing. Somebody's candidate, he snatch it. They do all sort of nonsense. And they declare the person that is the most criminal, as a winner. Who does that? When our mumu go finish? Who did this to us? Who did this madness to us? Who caused us? For God's sake. Who caused us? Mumu, our mumu, just the food the cup all the time, and we never want to throw it away. For God's sake. Anyway, my people, think about it. So, thank you for this program. So please share it. That is all I need. Share it. God will bless you. So I will bring more to you at evening. This afternoon broadcasting. So at evening, I promise you, will be more updating because problem never finish for Nigeria nation until we scatter the whole place. Until we share our portion. Our portion of land. So Yoruba go their way, Biafra go their way, Arewa go their way. So we will have peace. Peace shall be reign in Jesus' name. And in Mama's name we pray. Amen. And Chongo, Obatala, they will split that country for us. Amen. Thank you. I love you all. Have a wonderful time. Till evening, so we shall see again. Thank you. Love you. Mwah. Mwah. Mwah.